Welcome to the second video in this series, making a Frogger using Godot. In this video, we're going to start the process of building up our frog scene. We're not going to do all of it because, as you'll see during the series, there's quite a bit to the scene. What we're going to do is get the animation set up and a little bit of input detection. So to make a start to building our frog scene, we probably need a new scene to do it. So I'm going to click the plus up here. Thinking about the functionality that we're going to need with our frog, the main functionality actually is movement. So we need some kind of node 2D, but also collision. We don't need physics or anything like that, just non-physics based collision. And the node usually for that is the area 2D. So I'm going to click the other node here, type area at the top and double click on the area 2D, change the name of this immediately to frog, do Control S to save, and then where are we? Scenes, make a new folder called frog and save that here. Okay, so our frog itself is going to be a sprite, but it's going to be an animated sprite. Down here in the assets, you might notice the frog anim with 3 frames. We're going to use that to animate the walking a little bit. So what we'll do then is add a child node here of an animated sprite 2D. That does the job pretty well for us, I think. And then on the right-hand side, we can click the drop-down arrow and create ourselves a new sprite frames resource. Click on that resource, and that should open the sprite frames window at the bottom here. So we have a default animation. I'm going to click on that and change the name to walk. And then we want to add some frames inside here. So I'm going to click this little grid button here to add some frames. Browse into the assets, into the images, and select the frog anim PNG. Click open. We have a grid here which will slice this up incorrectly. We want 3 in the horizontal and then just 1 in the vertical. Then we can do select all and click add frames. Now, if you look at these frames here, we've got the right legs going forward here, then the left legs going forward here, and then stationary, so standing here. I'd like actually to have this frame in the middle of these two as well. So I'm going to select this one, click the copy here, click the paste here. That makes another one down here. I'm going to move this up so hopefully you can see something, and then drag with the mouse this frame to here. You should see now that we've got the right forward, then level, the left forward, then level, which I think looks a little bit better when playing the animation. Talking of which, what we can do is zoom in on this. It's set to looping, which is good. We can click the play button here and see how it looks. That's all right. It's a little bit slow. So what I'm actually going to do is maybe make it 8 frames a second. Yeah, that should be okay for what we need. So what I'll do then is leave that looping, but I'm going to click the pause here to stop that playing away. Then what we'll do is we'll make another single frame animation, which is simply going to be called stand, and that will be played whenever we come to a stop. So I'm going to click the new here to make a new animation. Click in the name here, type stand, and here we just want 1 frame. Let's go back to the walk, select, I'm going to select frame 1, which is just the stationary frame, then click the copy button at the top here, go to stand and click paste, and that's our single frame here. And we'll set this to auto play by default as well, and do Control S to save. Now, I mentioned in the introduction to the game that we have on the main scene these frogs sort of being spawned in and walking around across the screen. We're actually going to use the same animations for those. So to be able to reuse this resource, what we'll do is actually save it to files. So on the right hand side, let's click the drop down arrow, go to save as, and where are we? We're in scenes. I'm going to make a new folder called resources. And inside there, I'll call this frog frames. And then click save. And we can now reuse these in another scene if we need to, which we're going to need to later on when we have a much simpler version of this for the front page. So I'll do Control S to save. We're not quite done with the visuals though. We have a yellow warning triangle here, and that's because we don't have a collision shape assigned to this area 2D. So I'm going to select the frog here, and then we can add a new node, and we need here a collision shape 2D. And then on the right hand side, we'll make a circle shape resource here. Before setting the size though, I'm going to select the animated sprite 2D, and I know when I was preparing that we need the scale of this actually to be around 0.8. So on the right hand side, I'm going to set that to 0.8, and that fits a little bit better with the game. And then for the collision shape, for the extents here, maybe we can make a radius of 20, something like that. That should be okay. Obviously, we can always adjust it later on. And then finally, what we can also do here is we can add in an audio stream player actually for playing the movement sound. So selecting the root nodes, going to do new and look for audio. And we'll do audio stream player 2D. So we've got positional sound here, and I'll call this move sound. Then on the right hand side, we can browse into the streams, and we want this 527528, which is from Freesound, the ribbit here, which is a nice sound. I think so. Anyway, so I'll do Control S to save. So we're going to play this each time we move. And with that done, we're ready now to code up the movement. Now, I warn you in advance, this is a little bit more complicated than you might think, and it's going to take us a couple of videos to do it. So before we dive in and type some code, I'd like to explain to you what exactly we're going to need to do. So on the slide here, I've laid out a sort of schematic to describe, hopefully, how the movement is going to work, and you'll see why there are a couple of quirks to it. So the first thing to note is when we move, if we move up or down on the screen, we're forced to move in increments of 64 pixels. If we move left to right, we're forced to move in increments of 32 pixels. So our movement is completely deterministic. It's a bit like if you play, say, Boxworld or Sokoban or something like that. You're moving from one tile or square to another in fixed amounts. So 64 pixels up and down, 32 pixels left to right. And when we move, let's imagine we press the right, for example. We need to do a few things. First thing we need to do is rotate the sprite so it faces in the correct direction. And we'll need some code to make sure we rotate in the correct direction for each of the movement keys that we press. When we do start to move, we need to play our walk animation. And we also need then to play our walk sound as well. Importantly, once this process starts, we need to make sure that we prevent any other key presses happening until we've finished this specific deterministic movement of either 64 or 32 pixels. So once things have started, what we'll do is in the physics process is we'll start the process of updating the frog and moving its position, in this case going to the right by 32 pixels. And as I've said, prevent any further presses or anything like that, otherwise things are going to go a little bit wrong. The way we're going to do this in the code is actually by setting a fixed time which we have to move. We'll have a where we're moving from, we'll have a target where we're moving to, and we'll use linear interpolation or the lerp function to move over a fixed time from where we are to that target. Then when we've reached our target, we're then going to switch to play the stand animation. We'll re-allow presses on the keyboard, and later on you'll see we'll then have to detect whether we've landed on a log or landed on a pad, or indeed neither, and we've fallen in the water, in which case we die. We're going to cross those bridges later on though. What I'd like to do for this video is simply get the sprite rotating correctly and playing the walk animation when we press the keys on the keyboard. So back in Godot then, I'm aware that it all sounds a little bit complicated. Don't worry, we're going to break it down and do it bit by bit. So we'll start off by adding some code to the frog. So I'll select the root node, add a new script, and the frog looks good here, and click create. And then we're going to need access to the animated sprite. So I'm going to control drag the animated sprite into here. And then before we do anything else, we're dealing with collisions here. So we'll do our movement updates from inside the physics process. So I'll do Control S to save. Then I'll go into distraction-free mode. Hopefully you can then see something a little bit easier on the screen. What we're going to do is set up some constants now for our actual hopping. So I tend to do constants right at the top here. And as I see this, let's actually add a class name for this as well. Add a class name frog. There we go. So we actually have a type. Then we'll do a const. It's going to be left hop. That's going to be of type vector2. And that's going to be equal to vector2 minus 32 by 0. So we're going 32 pixels to the left. Then we can set the other one up as well, which is the right hop. Then I'll paste this twice. We want the up hop, and this one's going to be 0 and minus 64. And then we want the down hop, and this is going to be 0 and 64. Now for the inputs here, we're going to use the built-in inputs. So if I go to project settings, input map, and show built-in actions, for my inputs here that I have the UI left, the UI right, the UI up, and the UI down. This is what I'm going to use, and you can see that on my keyboard, the left, the right, the up, and the down arrows are set for this movement, and there's also some joypad ones by default as well. Please make a note of which keys you have on your keyboard for these, because these are the ones that we're going to be using. So I'll click close. And for this particular video, all we're going to do is when we press a key to hop in a given direction, we're going to rotate ourselves depending on which direction we want to actually hop. So to do that, let's write ourselves a new function all the way down the bottom here. I'll get rid of all of these tabs as well. That's better. So enter a few times. I'm going to call this function rotate and play sprite, and that's going to take in a direction which is a vector2. So what we'll do then is we'll match our direction. Then if we have the left hop, we're going to get hold of our animated sprite 2D, and we can set them the rotation degrees is going to be equal to 270.0. And then I'm going to be very lazy and copy this 3 times. And then we want the right hop, the up hop, and the down hop. For the right hop, we want 90 degrees. For the up, we want 0 degrees. And for the down, we want 180 degrees. And finally, once we've actually done something, we can then play our walking animation. So we can go animated sprite 2D dot and play, and we have the walk animation, and Control S to save. So we have a function here that when it's called with a given direction, it'll rotate us and then play the walking animation. So what I'd like to do to finish this particular video is actually get this working with the key presses. We'll do this using the unhandled input. I tend to put this above the ready. This is just my really personal preference. So I'll type func underscore and unhandled input. And then we'll ask ourselves if the event that we have is action pressed. And we're looking for the UI left in this case. Then we're going to rotate and play sprite, and that's going to be the direction being our left hop. And then, as you've probably gathered, I'm going to paste this in 3 times. So we have the right, the up, and the down. And then we can fill in the constants. Right hop, up hop, and down hop. And I'll do Control S to save. And now we should be reacting to the keys and be able to see the frog's walk animation playing and the rotation change as well. So I'll come out of a distraction-free mode and go to the level here. What we'll do is we'll add a new node, a marker 2D here. And I'm going to change this to start point. And then going to 2D view, we'll want it to be in the middle down the bottom here. So I'm going to go to the transform and set the X position, I think it's 384 is in the middle. Yes, it is. I can see at the top here, it's gone into the middle. And then the Y, if I remember correctly, needs to be 928. Yep, and let's set that down here. Then what we can do is we can instantiate a frog as a child of our start point. So we'll instantiate a frog, and it's there on the start position. So I'll do Control S to save. Then we can run the application, and what we should see, yes, is we've got the animation playing, and we can press the keys to rotate the frog. Good, that's a good start. So I'm going to close that down, close down the output, go back to the frog. Let's open the frog script, and I'll close down these sprite frames. We could clean this code up a little bit. One of the things we could do is in here is get rid of this match and use a dictionary for this instead. This is really a kind of personal preference thing more than anything else. But what we could do is make a constant here called, say, hop rotation. That's going to be then a dictionary. And that's going to be typed as well. That's quite new, I think, in the recent versions of Godot. So we can have a vector2 as the key, and the value is then going to be a float, which is actually going to be the rotation. Set that equal to. Then we can take our left hop here. That's going to have a rotation of 270. And then we can fill the others in as well. And we can use this dictionary instead of the match, just to make the code, I think, a little bit shorter. I'll go also to distraction-free mode, so it's a little bit clearer. So down inside here, what we'll do is we'll ask if the direction we're getting is in our dictionary. So we'll say that if our direction is in hop rotation, then what we'll do is delete all of this off here, and I'll tab this in. And the rotation that we're going to have is going to be hop rotation and the direction. Then we can remove these 3 lines from here and put the play here. And that makes things just a little bit shorter, I think, and easier to read. So if I press F5 to run the application, we should have, yes, exactly the same behavior as before. So I'll press F8 to close that down, close down the output. And whilst we're cleaning things up here, we could also consider doing something very similar with the inputs here. So we could have a dictionary with the inputs as keys and the hops as values, except to actually get the action name of the input, we'd have to jump through quite a few hoops to do it. So what we get here is an input event. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually print the event so you can see the type here as well. It'll be an event, input event key or input key event, I think. So if I run this and just press left, you can see, yes, it's input event key. That's the actual type that we have here. Now, if I right click on this and go to look up symbol, there's no way actually of getting the action name from the input event, and the input event key, and I have to remember where this is. I think it's input event from window, input event with modifiers, input event key. There it is. This also has no way of getting the action either. In fact, the action's actually on input event action. So we'd have to do a bit of jumping through hoops to actually extract the action name to then be able to use it as a key in a dictionary. And when I was preparing this, I thought that would be a little bit of overkill, especially as later on we need a line of logic in here as well. It just gets confusing. So I'm going to leave this like this, if that's okay with you, and not use a dictionary, but keep the dictionary for the rotation down here, which has made this a little bit shorter. All right then, so I'll do Control-S to save. And I think that's a good place to stop this particular video. Thanks very much for watching. In the next one, what we're going to do is actually get the frog hopping and moving around the screen. So I look forward to seeing you there for that one.